All right, in this explainer, we're diving into a really powerful chapter from the Qur'an that honestly poses a direct challenge to all of us. It forces us to confront some pretty big ideas, things like gratitude, denial, and what it actually means to be held accountable.
You know, this chapter doesn't ease you in with a gentle intro. Nope, it starts with a bang, a scene of just immense cosmic finality. It grabs you right from the start by describing the end of the world as we know it. So, this first part really sets the stage by describing the complete and total disintegration of the universe. And the whole point here is to shatter this core illusion we all kind of have, the idea that our world is stable, permanent, and just gonna be here forever.
And get this, notice the structure here. This isn't just described as random chaos. It's a very specific, four-step collapse of everything we count on, everything we see as stable, from the sky above our heads to the stars we navigate by, to the massive oceans, and even the finality of the grave itself. So, why all this cosmic drama? What's the point of the universe ending? Well, it's all leading up to one single moment of absolute, undeniable clarity. A moment where your entire life, every single thing you did, and the legacy you left behind, good or bad, is laid out in the open. And this is where the narrative makes this really fascinating turn. It zooms in from the vast, impersonal cosmos to a super intense personal confrontation. It's a direct address to the human conscience, to your conscience. This has got to be one of the most soul-searching questions in the entire Qur'an. And notice the approach. It's not an accusation. It's a question. It asks, what on earth could possibly deceive you, mislead you, about a Lord who is specifically described as generous? So what does deceived really mean in this context? Well, it's not just about being tricked by someone else. It's about a deep self-delusion. It's about mistaking God's mercy and generosity for a free pass to do whatever you want. It's that false sense of security that makes you think, it'll be fine. And the context for that question is so important. Right after asking it, you get this powerful reminder of the incredible care and artistry that went into our very creation. The message is crystal clear. When you've been cared for this much, being ungrateful isn't just simple ignorance, it's a deep moral failure. Okay, so what is at the very heart of this deception, this ingratitude? The next section just pulls back the curtain and reveals the root cause. It's a fundamental rejection of the day of judgment itself. And the text just states the problem, plain as day. It says the issue isn't a lack of evidence that God exists. No, the real problem is a deliberate, conscious choice to deny that you will ever be held accountable for what you do. And this brings us to this huge clash between our human assumptions and the reality being presented here. You know that little voice that says, no one saw it, so it doesn't count? Well, that idea is completely dismantled by this concept of a constant, unseen record being kept. And this record is described as being absolutely complete. We're not just talking about a list of good deeds and bad deeds. It's said to cover the whole shebang, from your most public actions to your most private thoughts, and even the intentions behind what you do. So this constant, unwavering, and complete record, it leads directly to the final phase of existence. This is where all of humanity gets sorted into two very distinct groups, based entirely on that life record. And the outcomes are presented as polar opposites. There is no middle ground. On one side, you have a state of absolute pleasure, total peace, honor, and security. On the other, a blazing fire with no way out. The contrast is so stark because it's meant to show the immense weight of the choices we make in life. Now, this is a critical point. This final separation is based purely on morality. It completely ignores all the things our world is built on: your ethnicity, your social status, your family name, how much money you have. None of it matters. Your destiny is determined solely by what your soul has sent forward. And all of this builds and builds to this final, powerful conclusion. The narrative now just systematically strips away every illusion of worldly power, all the influence, all the support systems we lean on. Now, to make sure you don't just gloss over this idea, to make sure it really sinks in, a solemn question is asked. It's a rhetorical move, designed to make you stop and really try to wrap your head around the sheer scale and importance of this day. And then it asks the question again. That's not a mistake. That kind of repetition is a powerful literary tool, and it's used here to crank up the intensity, to hammer home the seriousness of the moment, and to get rid of any casual thinking.
So what's the answer? It's this incredibly powerful and simple statement of absolute authority. On that day, every other command, every hierarchy, every kind of power we know just becomes utterly meaningless. There is only one single sovereign command.
And this really brings the whole point home. Nobody can help anybody else. Think about that. Every false authority just crumbles. Every support system you rely on vanishes. And each individual soul is left to stand completely alone, with nothing but its own record.
So, in the end, this chapter leaves us with this profound thought that really, it applies to everyone, no matter what you believe. It's a challenge to think about accountability. And it all boils down to one simple but powerful question for you to consider. How would you live differently, starting right now, if you knew that every single one of your actions had a permanent record?